I believe will bring us very close to removing a stain from American history that has lasted nearly 100 years. This program is very detailed, but let me now outline just a few of its major facets. First, in view of the success of the South Florida Task Force, and because of increasing organized crime involvement in drug abuse, we will establish 12...
President Ronald Reagan claimed to be very tough on the war on drugs, but it's odd because the government was bringing drugs into this country in the 80s.
Ronald Reagan gave his boss $18 million to buy supplies for their army. They took the $18 million because it wasn't enough money, and they bought drugs. The airplanes that they was using to bring supplies to their army, on the way back, they put drugs on those planes. The CIA knew they were selling drugs, but they say they didn't sanction it.
Now that, for the people that don't know who that is, that's Freeway Ricky Ross, a drug dealer who used to make $1 million a day. But here's the kicker: he used to buy his drugs off of a CIA operative, and that's what he was explaining in the interview. The Mercury News asserted that Blandon, in testifying before a federal grand jury in San Francisco in 1994, implied that his cocaine sales were, for a time, CIA approved. But here's where it gets even more strange. Former DA agent explains why they purposely didn't raid white neighborhoods.
When I would go into the war room where we were setting up all of our drug and gun addiction task forces, determining what cities where we're going to hit, I would notice that most of the time was always appeared to be urban areas. That's when I asked the question, well, don't they sell drugs out Potomac and Springfield and places like that? Or maybe y'all think they don't. The statistics show they use more drugs out in those areas than anywhere. The special agent in charge, he says, you know, we go out there and start messing with those folks. They know judges, they know lawyers, they know politicians. You start locking their kids up, somebody's gonna jerk our chain. He said they're gonna call us on it, and before you know it, they're gonna shut us down, and there goes your overtime. What I begin to see is that the drug war is totally about race.
The National Security Archive obtained the handwritten note the National Security Council aide who helped run the Contra War and other Reagan administration covert operations through a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit filed in 1989. The notebooks, as well as declassified memos sent to North, record that North was repeatedly informed of Contra ties to drug trafficking. In his entry for August 9, 1985, North summarizes a meeting with Robert Owen, Rob, his liaison with the Contras. They discuss a plane used by Mario Calero, brother of Adolfo Calero, head of the FDN, to transport supplies from New Orleans to Contras in Honduras. North writes, Honduran DC-6, which is being used for runs out of New Orleans, is probably being used for drug runs into U.S. As Lorraine Adams reported in the October 22, 1994 Washington Post, there are no records that corroborate North's later assertion that he passed this intelligence on drug trafficking to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. In 1987, the Senate Subcommittee on Narcotics, Terrorism, and International Operations, led by Senator John Kerry, launched an investigation of allegations arising from reports, more than a decade ago, of Contra drug links. One of the incidents examined by the Kerry Committee was an effort to divert drug money from a counter-narcotics operation to the Contra War. On July 28, 1988, 2 DEA agents testified before the House Subcommittee on Crime regarding a sting operation conducted against the Medellin cartel. The 2 agents said that in 1985, Oliver North had wanted to take $1.5 million in cartel bribe money that was carried by a DEA informant.